now, there is a declared genocide being committed by the Israeli government against the people of Gaza. It's not indirect, it's not obscure, it's not ambiguous. It's a declared genocide being committed against the people of Gaza. The magnitude of death and destruction that's been inflicted on the people of Gaza in the past 2 months makes every other war in the 20th century, and in part in 21st century, and in part in the 20th century, pale by comparison. There's simply no comparison between the density of the bombing, the ratio of civilian to military deaths, the percentage of children and women as against men who have been killed. There is no comparison with any other conflict in the 21st century, be it Afghanistan, be it Iraq, be it Ukraine. There is a light year separate a chasm separates what Israel has been doing with any other conflict in the 21st century, and in some cases, even the 20th century, in terms of combatant to civilian ratio of deaths. I would also say that Israel has crossed a negative threshold of barbarism, and I use my words very carefully. Israel has crossed a negative threshold of barbarism insofar as this is the only conflict, to my knowledge. Now, I cannot say for the Nazis during World War II because I'm not certain, but it's the only conflict, to my knowledge, where as a matter of open state policy, Israel has been targeting hospitals in Gaza. Now, I want you to listen to me carefully, Russell. I go back to the war in Vietnam, and I was active in the anti-war movement. And I have a searing memory of that war. There are many memories, but one in particular. During Christmas 1972, the United States bombed Bach Mai Hospital. For your listeners who are interested, it's spelled B-A-C-H, new word M-A-I. Israel bombed Bach Mai Hospital. And that atrocity, the U.S. bombed Bach Mai Hospital. That atrocity, which of course the U.S. denied and said it was an accident and it was a mistake, is seared in the memory of everyone who passed through that war. In fact, when I was a graduate student, I set up a table at the front of my library where I collected money to help rebuild Bach Mai Hospital. And Bach Mai Hospital, by the way, was rebuilt by American donations. People, not the government. Forget Kissinger, may he burn in hell. No, it was by people, ordinary people who gave to rebuild a hospital. The bombing of a hospital, until this Israeli genocide in Gaza, was literally unthinkable as an official open state practice. Let me enter those qualifiers again. As an official open state practice, it was unthinkable. And now Israel has crossed that negative threshold of barbarism by routinely, methodically, systematically bombing the hospitals in Gaza. So even as I am the last person on God's earth, having been raised on a mental diet of reading Professor Chomsky's chronicling of US crimes around the world, I am the last person on God's earth to deny the magnitude and the horror of the crimes inflicted by my government on states and peoples around the world. But the fact nonetheless remains that by some basic metrics, what Israel has been doing in Gaza is in a class, a category all its own, and certain of its actions, the targeting of hospitals, marks the crossing of a negative threshold into barbarism. If you search your memory, now you say you're a layperson, that's fine. Each person has his or her contribution to make to humanity, to make humanity a better place. And yours might not be sitting in a library or sitting at your desk reading books. But if you search your memory hard, I do not think you can come up with a single example of an official state policy of targeting hospitals. That is an innovation that Israel has now brought into the public domain and has now legitimized for all future wars and state actions.